Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial, and this time we're going to talk about static routing. So before we continue, there are two types of routing, and the first one is what we're going to discuss, static routing, and the next one is dynamic routing. For this session, we're going to discuss the simplest form of routing, which is the static routing. So what is static routing? Static routing is the simplest form of routing, but it is a manual process. Okay, in static routing, it is the alternative to dynamic routing, the process in which the system network administrator would manually configure network routers with all the information necessary for successful packet forwarding. Okay, so um, there are uh, advantages of static routing, or what I'm trying to say is that there are situations wherein static routing is better than dynamic routing and vice versa. Okay, so to enumerate, okay, the differences. So on the one on the left is dynamic, and the one on the right is static routing. So in the configuration complexity, okay, so generally independent of the network size in dynamic routing, because when configuration is set, the router itself will automatically do the routing on its own. But in static routing, it is to be done manually. So the bigger the network size is, the more complex is um, the more complex is the configuration. Okay, so basically the smaller the network size, static routing would be better off than the dynamic routing. Next is topology changes. In the dynamic, so it automatically adapts to the topology, while in static routing, administrator intervention is required, which means every time that there's a change in the topology, the admin would have to do it manually, reconfigure the routers. For scaling categories, the dynamic routing is suitable for simple and complex topologies, while static routing is only suitable for simple topologies. For security, this is the um, part where static routing wins, because it is configured manually, so it is more secure compared to dynamic routing. For resource usage, okay, in static routing, there's no extra resources needed, okay, but with dynamic routing, um, you have to consider, the administrator has to consider CPU, memory, and link bandwidth resources. Okay, so um, if he considers to use dynamic routing in all the routers, he has to consider that CPU is can handle it, the memory can handle it, and link bandwidth, so as to maximize efficiency, no, and efficiency in the performance of the network. Predictability. In dynamic, it depends on the route on the current topology. For static, the route to destination is always the same because it's fixed. So that's in static routing. Okay, so there are three primary uses of static routing. So the first one is provide ease of routing table maintenance in smaller networks that are not expected to grow significantly. Okay, so it's very ideal for small networks. Next is routing to and from stub networks. So what is a stub? It's not a sub. It really is stub. STUB. It's a stub network. Is a network accessed by a single route. and the router has only one neighbor. Okay, so it is connected to one router only. That particular router is connected to also one router only. Okay, so using a single default route, that that is for stub network. Next, and finally, final use of static routing is using a single default route to represent a path to any network that does not have a more specific match with another route in the routing table. Default routes are used to send traffic to any destination beyond the next upstream router. Okay, so this is how a stub network looks like. So the PC1 with the S1 and the R1, this network is called a stub network because it is only connected to this network here, the R2, and it is not connected to any other routers. Okay, so in this particular setup, static router is best suited. Static routing rather is best suited. So types of static routes. So standard static route. So both IPv4 and IPv6 supports this. Okay, in the standard static route. Okay. Um, Default static route, a route that matches all packets. Okay, a default route identifies the gateway IP address to which the router sends all IP packets that it does not have learned or is a static route. So the default static route is simply a static route with the 0000/0 as the destination IPv4 address. And of course, if you're familiar with this, if you can still remember on our previous lab activity in routing, in connecting the routers, we use this kind of route, the 0000 route. Okay, so basically what we did was static routing. Okay, on the previous laboratory activity. Uh, s- Summary static route. To reduce the number of routing table entries, multiple static routes can be summarized into a single static route if the destination networks are contiguous and can be summarized into a single network address. And the multiple static routes all use the same exit interface or next stop IP address. Okay, so as you can see here, so it's you have here router um 172.21.0.0, okay, /16, and then it uses this exit, we call that exit interface. Okay, this is the exit interface 2000. This is 2200. Okay, um and this is the I okay, according to this R1. Okay, I can represent all four networks. Okay, 172.20. So using a single summary route. Okay, so this is the single summary route. It uses the 172.20.0.0/14. Okay, so that's a summary static route. Okay, so another is floating static route. Are static routes that are used to provide a backup path to a primary static or dynamic route. In the event of link failure, the floating static route is only used when the primary route is not available. Okay, to accomplish this, the floating static route is configured with a higher administrative distance than the primary route. Recall that administrative distance represents the trustworthiness of a route. If multiple paths to the destination exist, the router will choose the path with the lowest administrative distance. So, to magnify, you have here the private one, internet, and then this is the router. Um, router branch and router HQ. So as you can see, there's a these are the static routes. Route from route to private one and route to internet, whichever has the lesser administrative, okay, as stated here, the router will choose the path with the lowest administrative distance, the shortest path, okay, in other words, okay, so if that is available, so if that choice is available, it will take that particular route, okay, that's for the floating static route, okay, so even if they are fixed, they are static, okay, um, the router is going to choose whichever has the lesser administrative distance. Okay, so to configure IPv for static routes, so this is the syntax router config. So this is what we use: IP route, network address, and then subnet mask, and then the exit interface or IP address exit interface. So as an example, we had it last time, okay? So this is the example IP route. We configure this to the IP to the routers. So 0000 space, okay, IP route 0000 space 0000, and then the exit interface IP address. Okay, so that was it's like we treated it as the network address of that particular subnet. Okay, but it's not actually the network address. It's actually just um, next to the network address because uh, again, we cannot use the network address and the broadcast IP address. Okay, so it has to be common to those routers. Okay, so default route. Okay, so you know this already. Okay, so this is how to configure it. So this is for R1. This is the stub network for this. Okay, so R1 config IP route 0000 space 0000, and then as identified, the exit interface IP address for this one is 172.16.2.2. Okay, so it depends on the that particular subnet. Okay, and that ends the presentation. So thank you for your time, and I hope you understood it. You can just rewind the video for you to be able to review it. If you have questions, just post your questions on the comments. Thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day. Bye.